First, on behalf of WBC, congratulations on winning the 2024 Trailblazer and Gender Equity and Diversity Award.
Well, Gwen, thank you. It is truly an honor and a privilege to be recognized by such a fine organization, deeply rooted in matters that means most to us. If you look back over the last couple of decades, the work that you lead and the work of your organization is what I would call especially necessary. So thank you for the work that you do, and thank you for honoring myself and organization for this prestigious award.
And thank you and SodexoMagic for the work that you do, our shared commitment to diversity and empowering communities. Thank you for the partnership. And thank you for being a great leader during this time. I look forward to working with you, not just today and honoring you with the award, but working with SodexoMagic as we move forward to build truly diverse and robust economies and communities.
Absolutely. We're up for it.
Excellent. Let's do it. So let's start with, in 2024, we know that the leadership landscape is being influenced by a variety of external factors, technological, economic, social, geopolitical, and these are shaping how you strategize and how you lead your organization. So what are the external factors that you're facing and the work of SodexoMagic is facing? And how are you rising to these challenges? Like, what does it look like for you in terms of leadership in 2024?
Yeah, excellent question. I always tell people SodexoMagic is a company formed to help solve problems in food and facility management. With nearly 7,000 employees across the country, we're not just in the hospitality or food and facility management business, but we're in the people business. So at the core of what we do, our most important asset are our people. And the most important asset are not just directly the companies that we service, but the people who work for the companies that we serve, and the young people in cities and in states all across this country that we feed from a nutritional standpoint in clean and safe buildings. So what that said is, like all companies, we're pressed with inflation and cost of goods. We're also pressed upon the infusion of AI and technology that is pushing the envelope on automation and making products readily available for clients, and the ease of use, and organizations and individuals having a high expectation around the idea of having goods and services at their fingertips. Also, a very changing workforce with the infusion of different cultures and immigrants coming into our country is creating a workforce that is different from what it was, let's call it 5 years ago. So there are cultural differences, there are language barriers. Primarily, our organization is made up by frontline staff that is mainly African-American and Hispanic from a workforce standpoint. And the complexities that come along with of job retention and attraction, and having the best and brightest talent and having them trained and skilled is right at our doorstep. We embrace all of those things. And at the end of the day, whether it be technology advancement or the cost of goods, good leadership will be the type of scenario that takes us over the top.
I'd love to talk about that good leadership and look at your leadership journey. This role at SodexoMagic and others, your commitment to empowerment, to supplier diversity, to building strategic partnerships has been shown again and again and again. Tell us a little bit about that journey and your commitment.
I'm born and raised in Chicago. I was always taught as a young boy growing up that every team, every community, every society in this country works best when everyone has an opportunity to participate. So, and when I say not just participate, meaning to contribute. Sometimes we get the idea of participation and contribution sort of confused, or we use them interchangeably. Participation is being invited to, and yes, you can sit next to, and yes, you can. Participation versus contribution mean yes, you can be invited, but contribute mean your voice heard. Is there a sense of belonging? Do you bring something to the party of substantial value? My leadership style is completely simple, and I don't try to oversimplify it or make it complex. There's a seat at the table, there's a plate for everyone, and there are utensils for everyone. So my expectation is, no matter where you are on the economic or social realm of matters, that you get a chance to contribute to the goodness of the entity. You also get an opportunity to share in the solution of creating opportunities for us to run and be more effective and efficient. With that said, I look for innovation in leadership at every step and every height and low of the company, from an employee engagement standpoint. So simple. I want everybody on the team because everybody makes the difference. I want everybody to contribute to the success and to the problem solving, because that uniqueness of that contribution really makes us the different company that we can be.
I love that. And that's, it's kind of a perfect segue into sort of, it brings up two things. I want to start with one of them. You talked about innovation and contribution and sort of driving that diverse workforce, and you talked a little bit about AI. How are you approaching that? How's the company approaching that? And, where are those opportunities? We talk a lot about it in WBC, is this is an opportunity to use, adopt, and regulate and manage AI in a way that can only build your business and build community engagement. Would love to hear kind of how you're looking at it.
Yep, I give you an example. In our industry, you use a simple technology advancement as sort of self checkout. So in businesses across our platform, people don't want to wait. They want quick transaction. They want the latest, greatest technology. They want automated stores. But at the end of the day, it doesn't mean that we want to eliminate jobs. What it creates is an opportunity for the evolution of job opportunities. I tell my staff all the time is, while we may remove a cashier because we've went to an automated checkout, we created an opportunity for an interactive experience with a host on site to do suggestive selling, to welcome people into our environment, to aid in the purchase process. That doesn't eliminate an opportunity. That creates an opportunity for an employee to pick up a new skill set, to interact and to enhance the customer experience. Just because we may automate a process on our cooking line that creates more efficiency for greater output, it doesn't mean that we're going to get rid of a job. Now we have an opportunity to create a new opportunity for creating a job training or community engagement for that person who was once on the line. Now they can get out to community and begin to train and to help create the job force of the future. So for us, it's not, an elimination idea. It is a evolution idea. And I believe that when we embrace technology with the right type of mindset and intention, it creates the opportunity to enhance the customer experience, to create efficiencies, to drive profitability, and to elevate the customer experience.
I love that. And I think that's right. I think it's in how we adopt, how we use, where we see the opportunity. And I want to talk a little bit, at the heart of everything you do is community engagement and customer engagement, right? But what does that look like for, either in terms of partnerships, at the part of what you do, it's supplier diversity, or community philanthropy and engagement? What does that look like on a sort of day-to-day basis and strategically? And what does that look like going into 2025?
I'll reference back to one of my points I said earlier here in our conversation. Every day, I try to create an opportunity for our employees to attract and retain great diverse talent, to bring the freshest and most innovative ideas, and at the same time, I push the same idea in supplier diversity. Having the opportunity to invite into our ecosystem that small woman-owned business, or that small African American and Hispanic-owned business, or LGBT business, or that business owned by someone who may even have a learning disability. Because diversity and inclusion and equity isn't just a black-white issue. It is a far sweeping and wider discussion that allows for unique and creative ideas for solutioning. So for me, I'm campaigning every day to have a workforce that's reflective of our customer base. I'm working every day to have a supply chain that's reflective of our workforce environment. If we don't do that, then I'll be sitting across the table communicating to a customer who don't understand me because I don't understand them. So for me, we're fighting every day for opportunities to make not only our workforce but our supply chain diverse. Now, what does that look like? It looks like me pushing that small company to get the appropriate certification. That means me pushing that smaller company, if they don't have the resources, to lead them to a resource center that allows them to get good financial and accredited hygiene so that they do pass the sniff test from a liability standpoint, insurance standpoint, access to capital standpoint. And then I'll end it by saying, just do business. Just do business with someone who does not look like you, who've come from in a background exactly like yours. And while there is a real discussion around access to capital, I think it's more of an access to opportunity. And the opportunity always drives the process, and good money follows great opportunity. So every day, as a leader, I aim to be an enabler at lowering the water or removing a barrier for participation.
I love that, just do business, which I think is, and it's an opportunity. I want to drill down a little bit before we sort of come back up on, you talked about it a bit on intersectionality and how you're looking at how that discussion is going, because diversity looks a lot of different ways, both within the company and within the communities in which you work. So I want to get your thoughts on intersectionality as we're looking at a very different population from a race and ethnicity and language as we've seen in the past. And how are you looking at that?
While that is a term that was brought to us in the mid '80s or late '80s, I think it's something that I've lived with all my life. And being raised in Chicago, the son of a bus driver and a housekeeper, and many times there are barriers based upon social economics, race, gender, the neighborhood that you came from, the school that you were educated in, the social clubs that you were either in or out of, that makes up sort of how we operate as complex human beings. And we always say, well, it's a simple solution to this. Why can't we all just behave like this? Well, it is layers and layers. And so if we don't lean into the idea of wanting to understand someone else, I mean, and having the love and the curiosity to be uncomfortable with understanding how someone else operates, how they think, how they make business decisions based upon their experiences, their backgrounds, and I'll add their traumas, then it is lost upon us to really unite and be the very best organization and be the very best set of leaders that we can be. So my philosophy is on it is plain and simple. Lead from a place of empathy, sympathy, being a life learner, and loving and caring for people from a genuine place. For me personally, I lead from a place of empathy, sympathy, understanding, and being curious about the background of the person who's sitting next to me or across the table from me, and a place out of not being judgmental based upon where they are today, but leading them to a place of a better place of understanding and rationalizing how we should work together and collaboratively with knowing that we all come from different places.
It's interesting too, because it's intention, it's deliberative. I love the word deliberation, like be deliberate about this. It's also curiosity and empathy, right? We talk a lot about empathetic leadership, but we talk about really being intentional about it and understanding. So as we've got an audience today, in the room of, companies and individuals, C-suite level and above, boards, women-owned businesses. We just ran a summit where we had over 85 diverse-owned businesses. What is your call to action? How can we do this? How can we just do business and respect diversity in a way that's really going to drive impact?
I think that it boils down to a very simple philosophy for me. Um, One, be empathetic. Two, be compassionate. Three, be willing to learn something a different way than what you may have been taught. The adult in us, all adults have a little girl or a little boy in them that came up out of a series of decisions and a series of experiences. And I think that sometimes we have to go out of our comfort zones to be a better leader. Um, it all sits with us, Gwen. AI won't solve our problem. The political landscape of the country or the world won't solve our problem. It comes down to the individual basis of the folks who look in the mirror every day, who's charged with leading their organizations. And I really sincerely believe that in our gut, that we have within us as leaders to be the very best people that we were created to be. And in doing so, I think that that has to be rooted in the idea of what we said earlier: just do business, and not a place of comfort, but a place of empathy, a place of compassion, and a best place of understanding. And if we put the customer first with solving hard, complex problems, then I believe we'll lean into the idea of diversity. We'll lean into the idea of inclusion. We'll lean into the idea of sharing the equity with everyone as incentive for being their very best. And when everyone's participating and everyone's doing their very best, I think the hard problems of this world, the hard problems that our stakeholders hold us responsible for, will be solved.
There's no better way and perfect way to end than with that idea of inclusivity and diversity. Bring your best selves. Let's all get around the table and solve these problems. I want to thank you again for the work you do, the leadership that you show, and all of the work that SodexoMagic does in really helping us bring these communities together and lean into, diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging, and the problems of today. Thank you again, and congratulations on winning the 2024 WBC Gender Equity and Diversity Trailblazer Award.
Thank you. And as we close, I'd like to just thank my entire organization. I'd like to thank the board of Sodexo, the board of Magic Johnson Enterprises for allowing me the platform. I'd like to thank every employee within our entire ecosystem, the 300,000 that represent Sodexo, the 7,000 that represent SodexoMagic, and every customer that allows us to serve them. So on behalf of our entire SodexoMagic family, again, thank you for the recognition and the opportunity that you presented here today.